Thanks.
Welcome to T4G Gamers. Today we are going to be talking about middle linebackers, Superstar X-Factor abilities. Which one should you guys get for your individual circumstance, if you're playing simulation, user play, what have you. With that being said, guys, if we can get this video up to 100 likes, that would be amazing. And let us know down below, who do you think the best middle linebacker is in the history of the NFL? You guys think it's you got Brian Urlacher? Are you going old school back in the day like Singletary, Dick Butkus? You got Ray Lewis obviously up there. You know, a guy I loved when I was younger was on the Falcons too, and I cannot believe I just forgot his name. Dear Lord, how did I forget his name? I'm going to remember it the minute I end this recording, and it's going to piss me off. So with middle linebackers, they are the quarterbacks of the defense. And you can take it a step further on how you operate this position, because this position is a very important position to have right. And it's a very, once you have this position correct, let's say you have Fred Warner, it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders to have a very good Mike linebacker. And a lot of people, what they do, because they don't have time, it's not people's fault, nothing like that. It doesn't mean that they're less capable, they're not as intelligent, what have you. It doesn't mean any of that. There's people who work all day, come home, play Madden, and they're playing in somewhat of a competitive league or what have you, and they don't have the time to jump into it and really dive down deep and go, what should I do here with this? Okay, so that's where we come into play. You know, we try to put ourselves into the mindset of what would a general manager do? What would a head coach do? And how do we just keep winning the game of inches? The more inches we stack, the more miles we'll be ahead in the future. You can change your middle linebacker's X-Factor ability depending on your opponent's strategy. And it's common knowledge of what the opposing team is going to do. You look at it in your weekly strategy. You can see what they do on average. You can also look at the team schemes and see what the team runs. Do they have Tennessee's playbook? Do they have Cleveland's playbook? Chances are they're going to probably run. Do they have Tampa Bay's playbook? Do they have Kansas City's playbook? Chances are they're going to pass. Okay. And also, if you're playing a user that you played with before, chances are that person is going to be a creature of habit and run what they have ran before. Anything that they find a slight bit of success with, humans tend to recreate that over and over and over again, just in different styles of play. Okay, so if I'm facing someone who I know that they are just going to run like crazy, and let's say my system around the middle linebacker is not as solid. Okay, like in our Jets rebuild, for example, we have a solid defense. We know our front four is super deadly. We know our cornerbacks are good. You know, we would run at that moment in time, if our defense is really good, we'd run shutdown. Okay, I want you to, the big reason we'd run this, even if they're coming at us with the run game, is eventually in time we know our offense is going to score on you a lot. Okay, we know that. The best defenses out there, you're going to take some on the chin regardless of what you do, okay? And then eventually in time, you're going to take that defense or that offense, who's a run-style offense, and then you're going to put them in a disadvantage where they have to then pass on you, okay? And they're going to have to pass. Well, I would still have shutdown there, even though I know they're going to run, because I know eventually in time you're going to have to pass, and then I'm going to wipe that out as much as I can, right? And that's how our defense is set up. It's like a spider web. We want you to run on us a lot, because our philosophy is we're going to stop you and force you to do what you're uncomfortable with, and then you're going to throw interceptions. All right, so that's our philosophy. Now, if I didn't have that situation where my team wasn't that good, and I know they're coming in, they're going to run a lot, or let's just say they're that dominant at running, well, then I would go run stuffer for that game. Okay, I would switch my guy over to where my guy is going to get an increase and win rate and block shed speed against one-on-one run blocks. Now, if I know that they're just coming out full-blown pass, obviously I'd go back to the shutdown as well, because when they enter the zone, their coverage is tighter and interceptions are more frequent on contested catches. Now, another one you could do is the one he has already, which is zone hawk. If you run a crap load of zone with your middle linebacker, this is another one that you can do as well. This ability increases the rate of interceptions while in zone coverage. There's that one you could do as well. I like shutdown, but you can kind of go between those options. Now, reinforcement in and of itself is not a terrible one. This ability increases their chance of defeating run blocks and disrupting catches via tackles. It's like a combination between the two, but what it is it's kind of like dipping your toes in opposite ends of the pool. You're not really jumping in one way or the other. And is that really beneficial to you? You know, we haven't found that it is. doing that. We'd rather just jump in one end or the other, and that's what we'd like to do because we found more success with that. But this is what we'd recommend for you guys, is to kind of look at what your opponents are doing, where your team is at, because if your team is really good and you're like, I don't really need to change much, then you could stick with shutdown. If you're in a run-heavy league where these guys just run like crazy, you could go run stuffer. You know, it's kind of up to you guys and what you guys see in your guys' individual franchise. Now, for your first ability slot, there's a lot. I mean, there really is. There's a lot that you can do. You can do strip specialist. We found success in several of them. We really have. There's one that we would recommend, though. If your guy has very low stamina, but he's extremely talented, you may want to go recuperation, because the last thing you want is be paying this guy all this money and he's not on the field as much as he should be because he's just exhausted. Or when he's on the field, he's not as successful as he could be because he's exhausted. So I would hate to waste it on recuperation because you only get 2 superstar ability slots. But that is one you can do. One that I like for just more of the glitchy side of the game, because Madden is really glitchy in that. And there's things that happen that you're just like, what is this? Lurker. Defenders of this ability can make jumping 180-degree interceptions while lurking in a zone in the middle of the field. This is definitely one that we like. This one, outmatched, I'm not as big of a fan of because it's running backs. I'd rather have it more towards, generalized anyone who's in his vicinity. So for the second superstar ability slot, we do love Lumberjack. Defenders of this ability do not allow broken tackles and cause more fumbles when cut sticking ball carriers. Okay, the Lumberjack, you kind of have this combination here. Your guy is just a dangerous player. You want to be more careful of throwing in his direction because he can make those 180 jumping interceptions. The Lumberjack aspect, he's already got shut down too. It makes the linebacker effective and nerve-wracking because he can do things that other guys just simply can't do. And so this is what we recommend to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this.